Welcome to the last video of the semester, and today we're going to talk a little bit about how we create music with text and also about how we add text to music in MuseScore. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've written two sentences that are similar to the sentences in the assignment that you have to set to music, so let's just take a look. So if these are our two sentences, we have to figure out how are we going to put this to music. The first thing we want to do is figure out, well, what rhythm do we want to use? Theoretically, we could just use straight quarter notes, but usually that's not going to work very well. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 syllables here, so let's go over to MuseScore, and it's not MuseScore. There we go. And we will just, okay, so let's say we have 4 quarter notes. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're just working on the rhythm now. So you have to realize that if this is the rhythm, then it is going to sound like I want to finish this class. So we have some strange accents. You know that 1 and 3 are always going to feel more weighted. So we're starting, I want to finish. That doesn't sound very good. Definitely feels like finish should be on the beat. And it really feels like want should be stronger than I. I guess we could think of it as I want to finish this class. But perhaps if you're just saying that sentence, I want to finish this class. Want, finish, and class are the strongest things. So perhaps we want to start it on an upbeat. And so we'll take out these notes. We would then have I want to finish this class. So now we're ending on a weak beat, which seems really wrong. I want to finish this class. So maybe we could go eighth notes in here. So now I want to finish this class. Probably finish this class would be better, so maybe the eighth notes would be better served here, which we certainly could do. And take this one back to a quarter note. Now you have the rhythm, I want to finish this class. So that would work, that would be fine. I decided that maybe it would be better to put it in 3. You can always test that out. And so I ended up with a I want to finish this class. So all my strong syllables are on the downbeat, and to finish this, we just evened it out. Okay? So let's take a look at our next line. It is time for summer to begin. So certainly time seems like it'll be the strongest of the beginning. It is time. And then summer, we definitely emphasize the first part of that word, and begin as well. So we need time, summer, the first part of summer and the first part of begin to be on the beat. So since we're already in 3, we need to figure out how to do that. If this is on beat 1, then these probably are going to be on beats 2 and 3. It is time. And if this is on 1, then we would probably just put this on 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So that seems a little bit to be, sorry, I said that wrong. Begin is the emphasis there. So let's see what might be a reasonable way to, it is time for summer to begin. It's kind of the rhythm that I chose. I thought that would make it a little faster rather than trying to do it as I made the video. So this is going to be our rhythm. And what I suggest you do is then we're going to now find a melody for that. And I suggest you first just put it in a piano version, and then you can take it out and put it into a choral version. Obviously, you can add instruments by going to Edit, choosing Instruments, and then it allows you to select vocal, and you can add or subtract whatever you need to. Okay, so here we have 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1. So let's play this again so we know what our first part sounds like. Kind of boring, but it works. And so then we will have, we have to figure out first what we want for a melody, and then what we want for the chords to work with it. So let's see if I can make this a little smaller so I can see the rhythm as we do this. Or maybe I'm just going to copy and paste this down in, and then we'll just add the notes as we need them. Okay? So it feels to me like, since we ended on a half cadence here, we're in the key of F, and this is a C chord, I'm going to want this to land on a 1 chord. So I'm going to make this maybe an F, and then you just go 5, 1, so I'll go C, E, F. Those would both fit in a 5 chord. So now it is time, and then we can go down a little bit. Maybe we have a 1, so maybe we leave the 1 for that whole measure. And we're going to want to end back on 1. This seems like it's going to be, again, a somewhat boring melody. I'm sorry, that appeared out of nowhere. Let's delete it up here so that I don't get the same notes happening. Sorry, wrong button. Okay, not really liking that, but I want to get this done quickly. If we add a D here, let's see what this is. Sounds a little bit better. And so now I'm going to figure out, I'm going to copy and paste what chords I might want here. So this is a 5, not necessarily a 5, 6. And this quarter note is going to be a 1. And this looks like it could be a 1, but we don't know for sure. And then this little 6, 7, 1 suggests maybe something like a 2, 5, 1 or 4, 5, 1. So we'll just put that in real quickly. Go 2. And then we can add at the end of the measure 5. And on this beat, we will add a 1 chord. So I guess you may have wanted to make it a deceptive cadence to add a little interest. Okay, so what we're learning mainly is that we want to have one line that ends a phrase. We have some sort of cadence here, another line that ends here. Figure out what kind of rhythm we want to use. We make some sort of melody out of it and figure out what chords we might want to go with that. So if we're coming before a 2, then certainly a 1, these would both fit in a 1 would go. What about a 6 chord? If we're in F, then D minor would be a 6 chord. So we could perhaps have a D minor here, not here. This looks more like a, this could be a 1 chord or a 5 chord or a 3 chord. We could have 3, 6, so maybe that would be interesting. So I'm going to put, oops, that's not the staff I wanted to put it in. Quarter notes here. I'm going to try a 3. And then a 6. All right, and so let's just put in the bass notes that would be if we were going to have this be all root position chords, and then we'll change them once we figure that out to make it look a little bit better. This is a 1 chord. This is going to be a 5 chord on the second beat. So actually we want it on the second beat. So I could have written it all in voice 1, but that's fine. So then we aren't sure what we're doing here, but here we were going to go with a 3 chord, that would be an A, and then this would be a 6 chord, which would be a D, a 2 chord, which would be a G, and a 5 chord would be, actually it should have been a half note, and a 5 chord would have been a C and an F. Okay, so the only thing we're missing here, what would go between a 1 and a 3? Not much that looks good. For now, we're just going to go, because the only thing that D would fit would be a 6 chord, a 4 chord, or a 2 chord. Perhaps we can just make some sort of passing chord with a G. Try that for a moment. Actually, maybe we'll just make that a passing note and keep everything else the same. Okay, right here. So we'll deal with that in just a minute. So now we look at our bass line here, and it looks like it jumps around a good bit. If we simply made this a 6/6, we could put an F in the bass, and that would make a little more logical voice leading here. And if we put a G in here somewhere, okay, so we can listen and see what this sounds like. I keep hitting the wrong button for that. Okay. Okay, so then we could just fill in our other voices and everything should be just fine. I'm going to need alto for this, so I'm just going to put in, since this stays a 5 chord for the moment, I'm just going to make that a half note. And here we want an F, we need an A, so we'll do that. And I needed a half note. And we're just going to leave that going since we aren't really changing chords. And then we need here, we need something to fit our A minor chord and then our D minor chord. So it seems like E and F would be good choices. E, and then a half note F, F. And then a 2 chord is going to be G, D, D. Maybe we want to make this, nope. I was thinking maybe we want to make a 5-2-7, but that F would then have to go down to the E, and that would not work very well for us. So we're just going to make it a G. And we definitely need a B flat here in this other voice. So let's go ahead and do that. And then the last note we need here in the alto, we can keep our G, and then we can move that to F. Okay, so we have the alto line in, and then we can put a tenor line in, and we need a G, so we'll go ahead and put a G, and then F, A C would be nice, but that feels an awful lot like we would get parallel octaves, so I'm just going to go down to F. Don't like this tripling of the root, but I'll fix that in a minute. And so then we have a next chord. I'm just going to make this a dotted, and we'll figure out how to fix that later. We're going to then need a C. We need a C. We have to have a C here for this next chord. So I'm going to put a C right here. We have one at the top. We have all the notes we need, so we can use anything. I'm going to double the root for the moment. And here we're going to have a D. That should have been a half note. And we've already got our B, and now we need C. That needs to be a quarter note, C. And then we can just hold on to that. No, we're going to need a third in there somewhere, so let's give it a third. All right, so let's just hear and see if this sounds too painful. Okay, it works somewhat. I don't like the fact that we have this really hugely strong thing here, so what perhaps we could do is just make this a quarter note and then follow that by a step down and make this a first inversion triad. And what we've in effect done is we have made the next one a 5-4-2 chord by adding the seventh. Okay, so that seems like a good plan. I think I don't quite have enough room for this. Let me see if I can make this just a little bit bigger. Select this. All right, that makes it at least a little bit bigger. We've got our 5 and 5-4-2, and then our 1 chord, and then we've just got some passing tones here. Well, this isn't really a passing tone, is it? So if we tried to make this a non-chord tone, that would be a serious error. So if we want to make this a 2 chord, we could perhaps do that by making this not. So we're making a 2-6. That's a mistake, sorry. I'm going to try to take off this dot here. And we can now make this a G. And so we have kind of a passing type 2-6 chord. It might not be the best progression, but I think it'll work. So we're going to copy that and paste it in. Okay, so here we have our 2-6, and then our 3-6-6-2-5-1. Okay, so let's listen again. So let's just say that we like that and we think that's the most awesome thing ever invented. Then we're going to go ahead and copy this into our other voices. So this will go, the top line will go into the soprano and the bottom line will go into the alto. I'm just going to copy the whole thing, paste it here, and then I'm going to delete all these voice 2 things. Same thing, I'll paste the same thing in here and erase the top of this. Let's see here. That's not that big. Delete. And I can just tap each one of these and make them, let me see if I can just select them and make them voice 1. Yeah. I still got to delete all this voice 2 stuff, so that was disastrous. So, alright, that, and make this bigger. Could have gone more quickly. Now, how do we put the text in? You simply write out this text. I'll put a link to show you this so that if you don't remember, you can look it up. But you simply write each syllable followed by a dash and a space, and then you can simply copy that. This is just in any kind of Word program. I copy that, and then I go back to MuseScore. I click this, and then you hit either Control-L on a PC or Command-L on a Mac, and it gives you this little square. And then I just hit the paste button repeatedly until I'm done. So Command V, Command V. Oops, so this was the wrong, I selected the wrong thing. I did the first, sorry. Copied the wrong text. You can also just put them in word by word, but this is a little bit faster, especially if you have more than this. You copy that, and then we're going to go B, B. Now, you notice down here, we don't have 2 notes right here. So I need to change this to 2 quarter notes. And then same thing. I've got to recopy it. Okay, and then I will do the same thing with the bass. Yeah, I've got a lot of extra stuff I'm going to have to delete. That's okay. So let's first delete all this text. And recopy that so when I put it in the next voice it won't be so messy. Here. And then I'm going to just choose this one. We need to move all of these to voice 1. It's probably easiest if when you're just putting in the original in 2 staves that you go ahead and just put everything in voice 1. That's not what I wanted to delete. Almost to the end of it. Let's make this a dotted note. Need to be there. Okay, so that looks good. This still looks like a mess. I wish there was an easier way to do it. Like I said, I think it would be easier if you didn't have to, if we hadn't put everything in different voices. And then obviously we could just then go in and write our text in each of these voices as well. And so then for the moment, I guess let's play it back. I'm going to view the mixer, and I am going to take down the piano. I think that's what I took down. Yep. And see if we can just hear what our vocal part sounds like. Okay, and if I was going to put in the text, I'd need to make this 2 quarter notes as well. And I think the rest of it works out pretty well. So then we have our finished piece. Sounds a little bit like this. A little boring, maybe a little too strong of an emphasis on one here, but so it is not something that is crazy difficult to do. Just make sure that you are using chord progressions that fit our logical scheme that we know from our chord chart, and try to figure out a nice little melody, and you should be good to go. I hope that this has been instructive. I'm so sorry that the class ended the way it did with these these classes online and having to deal with the video stuff. Again, I am always more than willing to meet with you by Zoom or answer any questions via email you might have. So let me know, and I will give you an update about what will be on the final later in the week.